Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike, and welcome to the first episode of the podcast, The Spirit Lens. I'm here with Sunny. She is a healer and a poet, and to my personal feeling, she's a very, very wise and old soul that sending metaphysical messages through Facebook, through how I found her, and I thought that she's going to be an awesome first guest to raise your vibrational frequencies, of course. So, with that being said, and I'm going to find the banner really quick about Sunny. So, Sunny, first of all, good evening, and thank you so much for agreeing to join me. It was so quick; didn't really need a lot of communication. To me, it was like a really last minute thing because I'm very raw, and I want to tell the audience from now on, these episodes are as raw as they can go. They're not edited. They're not going to be edited because if something is meant to happen and it's divine timing, because the energies in the air are so high, then what's the point? Let it just happen. Let it be. It can be a bark. It can be my dog coming here interrupting me in certain sentences. Let just things flow. And that's what I like to tell people about being a soul. You have to let things flow. You're a soul. Nothing can bother you. But enough about that. So if I didn't say, my name is Mike. And like I said, with me tonight is Sunny. So Sunny, thank you so much again. And before I play a video, I want to ask about yourself. Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Well, first of all, happy full moon, and thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. It's an honor to be here. I was actually just last week communicating with my mother that I need to start a podcast. And then when you reached out to me for this, I was like, here we are. It's in the flow of things. It's beautiful. Um, well, I have been on a self healing journey for the last 17 years. I'm 37 now. I have had my share of full spectrum experiences in that. You could call me a bit of an immersive learner. Everything that I've learned about healing mind, body, and spirit has been in full immersion from the get go, starting with my own near death experience and working my way since then. Um, from the physical in and through the mental, emotional, and now into the spiritual and energetic. So, in that space, I am coming into more of who I know myself to be than I've ever been before. I'm coming into more authentic energy than I've ever had before. And I know that so many of us on this wave are doing the same, which is so beautiful to see across the collective right now. I pride myself on being very connected with so many light workers and having always shown up for other people along the way when I've been needed. You know, I consider myself a bit of a soul guide and catalyst, an accelerator. I was thrown back onto my spiritual path a couple years ago after about a 4-year dark night of the soul, a bit of a karmic relationship that led me into this space. So, on the other side of that and a few near death experiences, I'm now in a space where I'm doing, I was attuned in Reiki, but I'm going to call it quantum alchemy, looking at everything that there is as either rooted in love or fear, and um, programming myself along the way to alchemize any fear that I sense in people back into love so that they can accelerate forth in their self-healing journey after they see me. I like to leave things cleaner than I find them, you could say.
Yes, it's amazing. It's actually the definition of ascending. You're reaching out to all these methods. It's like that's how the soul ascends. Like you have enough of what is casual or what everybody's capable of. You need just higher levels and higher things. And you know what you said in the beginning really reminded me of my journey of just this growth through this. Like I had to learn the lesson in order to just learn acceptance. And once I learned acceptance, I just aligned. The soul aligns with its journey, and then all of this really turns into wisdom. It's almost like you inherit it. It's a wisdom you don't learn. You just change, and that's really what happened to me. And the Facebook name is Soul Guide. So like I said, this is going to be like a discussion between the two of us, and and I want to tell the audience how I really found you. So I have this Facebook group that is attached to my Facebook page, and what I do there is just daily insights, sometimes text, sometimes video, stuff that goes through my soul. I immediately just the camera, just very raw. Anywhere I'm at, I can be in the car, somewhere, no filters, just speaking. So I went through some posts because sometimes I just need to approve some posts with people. As long as they're spiritual, I automatically approve them. And then I come along your post where you just had this video that you attached to the group. And then, when there are videos, you want to kind of check that everything is good and everything is appropriate. Obviously, that not the reason I checked it, but I'm like, I was drawn into these, like, not only to the music in the background, to the high, to the frequency of the music, but the words and everything. Just like, okay, like it's a message. I understand that it's something on my soul journey too. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have to try to contact. I usually never do. My wife does that, but like I'll contact and see if she's available for an interview because I want people to be introduced to these types of souls and the amazing role they have in this life. And like you said in the beginning, you had to gradually grow through the shadows, I call them. Comes the light. You can't just automatically be enlightened if you weren't in the darkness prior. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play that video. I don't even know how many seconds that, it doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that people get the message, and then I'm going to ask you about this because I really want to know what went through your soul when you were doing that. But let's play the video first. So let's make sure. Give me just 1 second, and there you go.
Your tomato, my tomato. Don Ventari or Apollo. If the medicine is what we can believe in, we will swallow. There's no law, there's no jury, nor a doctrine, nor your fury that can block the path the Spirit paves for each of us to follow. Know the ledge, but feel the language. Know there's many ways to say this. Know that Themis, Durga, Ishtar, Balder all have the same address. It's the message. Word incarnate. Symbolism of the karmic and the dharmic does no harm but takes no shit and guides the arm that grabs the ankh from the creator through the fabric.
Mike, would you like to speak? Would you like for me to just speak it since it's switching?
Yeah. I just want to,
speak.
because I didn't even want to turn off. I'm like, I myself was getting into this trance. I mean, to me, I can play it again there, but to me, it's like you were in a trance. I mean, am I right? Like these words, and I know that you rap, also kind of like rap about these things, about like metaphysical, spiritual messages. I've never heard anything like that. I told my wife, I said, wait till I play you. I mean, this is just like you get hypnotized, and I know what I'm talking about because I've been speaking to many high souls in consciousness, I call them, and everybody got their own path and their own talent. But here, it's almost like there's this like an invisible umbilical cord, just channeling, and then it's coming just through you through these words. That's how personally I felt it. So just let me just ask you. So what's the story behind all those?
Well, it's just like you were talking before we got into trying to play it. Everybody comes into this life essentially embarking upon the hero's journey, right? And so there's a segment later on after all of the cryptic stuff with the deities that probably most people aren't even aware of. That poem was channeled through me one night when I was doing some Kundalini awakening practice. I'll say some activation practice of the chakras, and speaking with a good friend of mine at the time, who also, you get in contact with people that meet you on that higher frequency, and all of a sudden all of these goodies are activated within your system where you're just this open channel of, anything beautiful that needs to come through you at the time to express more fully. I was writing poetry when I was very young. I was asked by a friend a couple of years ago, before I left that darker situation, to join on this poetry challenge so that I could get this book published for $50. It's a 21 poems in 21 day challenge. And that was actually what brought me back into a space of writing poetry. And ever since then, especially now that, coming into the more expansive spaces of spiritual connectivity that I have since then, I'm realizing that I am this open channel, this sage, if you will, for sake of not just my own healing, but to activate healing in other people. So again, back to the hero's journey, we all come here to walk through the fire and come out on the other side, forged and gilded, into the truth of who we really are and our purpose here, so that all of the things that we've learned along the way in the harder stages, we can now gift back to others. So there's a segment of that poem near the end, like you were talking about. It says, "Through the dark into the light, whatever your mode of flight, your deitic inspiration or experiential plight, find your medicine and use it. Learn it so you don't misuse it, and give thanks to every ancestor that brought you here to choose it. You're the music, you're the lyric, the composer is your spirit, and a choir of angels sings where you can hear it. So don't fear it, though your path is not my own. There's no right way set in stone, but for loving one another as we walk each other home." And ultimately, that's the truth of everything that I know this experience to be. And as it came through, I was like, this is it. This is what people need to hear. Everybody needs to understand that everyone has their own path, their own soul's mission here, but ultimately our purpose is to heal through the suffering that we came here to experience, so that we can provide that very unique gift back to the collective. And it doesn't matter what you believe or where you're from, because I consider myself an integrator as well. I like to cross bridges with people, different religions and forms of, ways of believing and seeing things. It doesn't matter where you come from, or what walk of life, what career you choose, what everything looks like for you. What matters is that you show up here to learn how to love yourself, to learn how to share that love, and to learn what your soul's ultimate purpose is here for sake of serving other people, through a space of unconditional love. We have so much fear in the world, and unconditional love is the only medicine for that,
Right. Right. That's what I tell people. It all starts, when I have sessions, with unconditional love. First to yourself, and then it will reflect outwards. All your challenges will just meet this unconditional love, and that will remove fear and everything else. And I'll tell people, just like you said, we did not come to this world on vacation. It's a temporary illusion that has so many challenges, and these challenges are spiritual, but they manifest themselves. Some of those that are associated with our choices and actions that we have free will to do, and some of them are just stops in our soul journey. And I tell people, just accept it. Enough taking turns in your life. Take the back seat, roll down the window, and just accept. And the only way to accept it is with unconditional love. Then it hurts less. Then you're getting, and then people say, but why I'm suffering? It's like, well, you decide to suffer. I mean, it's not, nothing is meant to, even I try to tell people that even evil is not that evil. I mean, it's just the opposite of good. It's just something that's supposed to counter your soul. I mean, your soul is so illuminated. You mean, you know it all, and you come and confine yourself in a physical body that has a flu and that has headaches and needs to sleep and needs to make money. All these powerful tools of the ego are all recruited for that purpose only, that for 70, 80, 90 years in average, it's going to make the soul think that it's just a body that maybe or maybe not has a soul, instead of knowing that we are soul that's having a body experience, and a very short one. And some of us come here to even just be just the opposite side of somebody who needs to make a bad choice. Sometimes people don't understand, like, what have I done to cause that? Like, I haven't done anything wrong to suffer. But sometimes you're there because you're there to test people? How do we test souls? We can't test them in front of an animal or a tree or whatnot. We have to put another soul in front of them so they can make the decisions to hurt, to not hurt, to respect, to love. We're all part of the collective. This is how we help others. Otherwise, everybody would just have a universe for themselves. So I tell them that after this consciousness called physical life, we do the same, but in a state of bliss, in a state that I can't even interpret and bring into physical terms. You won't be able to understand it. My out-of-body experience taught me that. I mean, the knowledge that you get, the awareness that you are a soul, I can't even explain the peace and the bliss, but we all go there. We all just need to get this spiritual cart or backpack and just fill it with good deeds, with love, with all the things that money can never buy. That can, you know what I mean? Like all these things that just go with us. Nothing that, this world leaves. So I agree with you 100%. But let me ask you a question. So now that you obviously know who you are and your journey, so what do you do to get more souls to, come close to their real selves?
Oh, well, I stay in the flow of things, as you do. People find me, as you did. And in the downtime between, I take care of my son, and I do everything that I can to keep growing and expanding my own awareness and digging deeper into anything that shows up for me to heal. You were talking about people come to test us. I think it's really important for us to realize that everything that we see in other people, every interaction that we have along the way is a mirror for sake of our soul's growth and evolution. And so, and it's hard to recognize that in the suffering of it while it's happening. But then on the other side, we realize, especially when we come from, severe forms of childhood trauma, we realize that our soul ultimately signed up for this mission in order to overcome, to have that reflection, to see the duality, to see the pain that's possible in this life, and to see what kind of healing can rise from that. And I feel that the harder, the more challenging, the more complicated, the more traumatic a person's experience is, it's an opportunity through a space of healing, through a space of self-love, through a space of absolution of fear and into love. You realize that now you have the capacity to serve in amazing ways for other people, ways that you would have only deemed a miracle, or only for Jesus, or whatever, whatever that looks like for you, only for a prophet, only for somebody that you'd heard of in the history books. You realize that you're capable of doing the same, that you're capable of essentially Christing yourself, right?
I'm so glad you brought it up. I usually,
Yeah.
when people talk to me about religion, I say, I zoom out. You're a soul, and souls came before religion. Okay, way before religion, and people were able to connect to themselves, which are part of the divine. And in fact, with religion, there's a lot of manipulation that men use, and unfortunately, a lot of people sometimes are misguided. But again, I don't ever judge. I mean, everybody get their journey, even by making a mistake. But in the Bible, there was a book in what's called the Old Testament. It was a book that was removed from the Bible. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. And the book was the book of Enoch. And why was it banned? Because what did Enoch do? According to the book, he was a human being in a physical body, but he was able to just travel to different dimensions through these portals. And it says in the scriptures there that he was walking with God. Like he was literally walking with the divine, then coming right back. Kind of like teleporting themselves. And then later on, all the when the Bible was going on, it was like, well, you can't get to it without the Bible or without specifically what God said. So it's pretty much showing that human beings back then, like even from like Adam and Eve's generations, the human body, that the ego was almost non-existent. Like we were like half, half souls, half humans in the beginning until afterwards. But I wanted to ask you something because when my only talent, quote unquote, that I inherited from my accident is to really see souls for who they are, like to see through the body, really see the amount of light and all that stuff. And with you and about you, I just see manifest, like you someone who knows how to manifest. And I want to ask you, what do you think about manifesting? Because a lot of my followers usually ask about the power, because I truly believe in the power of manifesting, with even with our vows, with our sound, letters, numbers. I wrote a book about that, and a commentary book I interpreted. So what do you think about the power of manifesting?
So what I've learned in immersive experience, what I've learned about manifestation is that, so first of all, word is born. That's the first truth that I've learned. Word is born when there's an emotion behind word that is powerful, no matter if that comes from fear or anger or a lower vibrational energy or a higher vibrational energy like love, like compassion, like excitement, like gratitude. When you're speaking, you're creating. It's a bit of like the womb of the upper half of your body is your throat. That's what births ideas to life. Everything that you see around you was birthed from a thought and somebody speaking it to existence, right? So
Mhm.
to consider the amount of power that each of us have with our word, that's the first thing when I hear the word manifest. And then otherwise, as a healer, as somebody who understands that we're all walking around, we're bodies in spirits, not spirits in bodies. So we have this electromagnetic field, this energetic field, this auric field. There's so many words for these things, right? So I try and put them all out there for anybody who needs to, for as many people as possible that can resonate with it, rather. We're all walking around in these electromagnetic fields, and as we experience different levels of suffering in this life, energy in motion, emotion, any emotions that we did not have the capability, capacity, safety, wherewithal to express fully from start to finish to the other side, which is why so many of us need healing, because so many of us are sitting on the density of our stagnant emotions in our system. Dependent upon how much density of these stagnant emotions that you're carrying in your electromagnetic field, this is what I actively work to release and help others alchemize back into love and relieve them of these blocks and these corded attachments and things that are holding them back from being able to come into their power of manifesting a creational experience rather than a destructive mess of things happening and the looming black cloud that some people seem to carry over their heads. It
Yeah, I
all
call it
comes down
shadow.
to
I'm
the
sorry, I call it
density.
a prison, a shadow prison.
Oh, it's intense.
Prison out of shadows, the same thing. It's the same thing. Sorry.
It's okay. No, I just consider, I like to consider it as, as diplomatic a term as possible for people so that there's not a fear that I'm creating with my language while I'm trying to help them alchemize their fear. But to release this density from our system and let it restore back into a space of love and healing energy, we're getting these blocks out of the way so that we can manifest more cleanly. And if we're not getting those blocks out of the way, whether we're doing the work for ourselves or we're seeking a healer who can help us relieve these blocks, if we're not getting these blocks out of the way, then we're manifesting through a filtered and muddied space. So the things that we're trying to create may or may not turn out exactly like we want them to. We'll get a taste of it. We'll get something that looks or feels like it, but then we realize, nope, there's still a lesson to learn here. Nope, the universe is still having us face something here. And especially, and this is something that I warn so many of my clients about, where it comes to these kind of blocks is when we're in sexual exchange. May I go this far? Okay, when we're in sexual exchange with other people, And we're exchanging on that level, knowing that our sacrum, a lot of us in the spiritual world, we know that our sacrum, our womb, is our creation space on the lower parts of our bodies. It's how we create life, physical life in this world, right? It's the portal
It's a
to that
portal.
space. It's a portal, yeah. And in both of us, not just in women, in men too. It takes two to tango, right? So we're creating life together, but we're also sharing the things that have been created or rather
Yeah.
embedded rather into our energies, trauma experiences, pain and suffering gets exchanged that way. And in that, we can be carrying the energy of other people and trying to manifest for ourselves. And there are times that we're trying to manifest for ourselves, and that person that we're still attached to in that energetic frame, because we exchanged on that level, they may be receiving our manifestations. And we're over here wondering, like, why are we blocked from being able to create the things that we're trying to create? So there's so many dimensions to manifestation that really ultimately it pays to come home to a space of self-love, do the healing work, let somebody that you trust assist you with that, who knows what they're doing, who knows how to take fear and turn it back into love, whatever that fear, whatever that wound is, so that your system is purified, cleaned up. There's no density, no blocks, no filtration getting in the way of you being able to create as the powerful creator that we all truly came to be, because we are the microcosm of the macrocosmic experience of ultimately what creation is. We're a fractal of creation. So
Yes,
I want to be able to empower everybody to come home to their capacity to create in the fullest and most beautiful way possible.
exactly. I
Yeah.
tell people, know that you are light, know that you are soul. If you
Mhm.
know your true, I mean, if you know what a soul means and what you are, soul lives. I mean, you never die. I mean, when people talk to me, even the terminology is a way of manifestation. If you
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I lost my husband," no, don't
Yeah.
talk like that. He's more alive than you'll ever be inside this physical body. No, our part of creation and even religion. I mean, doesn't contradict that. Like we are born, in God's image, right? Like what's that? That we look like him? Arms? Like no, we have the ability to create, like you mentioned, create life, open these portals. We
Yeah.
have, unlike the animals and trees and plants that are, in my opinion, they have angelic souls. They don't have. They just give good. They're egoless. All they do is they're here for the creation. They follow instinct. They can never hate. They can never talk bad about other animals. They can never, you know what I mean? They're just really something else. We, however, are in from higher realms. We are able to make those mistakes. We're able to learn from them. When I've been through many, and a lot of us, we all have our stories, but
Mhm.
at the time I didn't know. I was like, what's going on? Then I realized, that when it rained, it poured. So I'm like, maybe these things are not really against me. Maybe they're for me. So as I was just spiritually ascending, now when I look at it, so even the people that were involved in my life, I just blessed the situation. I don't even regret like things that happened. I bless my past, even the worst quote unquote parts that I felt like, oh, I'm lost and the whole world is down. No, I mean, if it wasn't for these, my soul would never be able to get loose out of, to these levels of consciousness. And now, like everything is like dodgeball. And believe me, I have troubles, especially medical ones. And I joke with people. I tell them, when the ego can't get you spiritually anymore, it'll attack your body. Then
Yeah.
there's nothing really you can do. You'll have physical pain. You just have to take it. So when people try to heal me, I was like, well, it's part of my journey. Like I have to go through this test. You can try to maybe cheat the test or maybe avoid it, but some tests, like my soul knows that it's coming. I'm meeting it halfway. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
me, manifestation is not just waiting for the prayers to be answered. It's only 50% of the job.
No,
you
you
have
have to align yourself and take the aligned action to move
yeah, believe
forward.
in the timing and meet it halfway. Believe in the timing. Because people,
Yes.
when they say a prayer, they can say it from intention. I've seen people when I worked in ERs and stuff like that. So I've been all around society, not even knowing, like, why am I meeting all these souls that are, I don't want to say lost, but like lost at the time, and now realize why. But at the time, I've seen people crying for miracles, and I know it was from intention, and it didn't work. Then all of a sudden, it was like, no, it's not working. No, that's not how you manifest. You throw it out there, and then it's
Trust.
rising, But you have to trust the timing,
You have
and
to. It's
really,
like baking a cake. You have to trust the oven that it's going to do its job. You can't keep
exactly.
opening the oven door. It messes with the chemistry.
Yeah, and then you're manifesting. Then you know what I mean. So everything in life. So when trouble comes, don't minimize them. Troubles. I mean, look, go to the ICU somewhere. See people fighting for another breath. Every breath for them, or blink of an eye, is a victory. Every time waking up in the morning, and I've seen it. I've been around these souls, and this is how I grew as well. Now I'm looking at, like, trust me, manifest positivity. Like, that's what we are. Like, I talk to people all the time, and it's not just that I help them, they help me as well. My soul needs it. Like, these people are meant to be in my soul journey.
And
So
gratitude is so huge in that. And then not taking ownership over things that you want to see change. That's a big part of it too. So to not say it's my anything, but to let go of the attachment to the belief that everything that's happened before is an ultimatum, so that you can get out of your own way and allow the things that are new to come in, and be grateful for them in advance, having the trust that they are coming.
exactly. And the
Yeah.
battle is always there. People need to understand, viewers, like, you always, as long as you are stuck in this human body, you will have these challenges. They'll come in different ways, they'll manifest themselves, and usually the big ones will get you where you're the weakest. They'll find your spiritual Achilles heel, and you know that if you know that it's not your fault, that you have nothing to do with the situation, no, it's a test. So what do you have to do? You have to accept it, like surrender, not from a place of fear or defeat, but from a place of understanding that your soul has to go through that. Like an athlete that trains for the Olympics, they know that they're going to just push their body to the limit. It's not going to be easy, definitely not physically or not emotionally, but they know the reward afterwards. They know that they're capable of. So you have to know your soul. You have to know that you have to fight anger. You have to fight fear. These emotions, unlike feelings that are mixed with the mind, with the world of the material, emotions are where intuition comes from. These are the feelings of the soul. And if you listen to it, and if you always fight for it, when fear comes, overcome the fear with faith. When anger comes, just trying to control it, or do something in order to overcome it. This is how you're going to grow spiritually.
Sit
This is
with
how you
it.
graduate. Yeah,
Yeah.
have peace
Sit
with
with
it.
it rather than fighting, rather than attacking, going into defense and attack, which is where a lot of us, I think, get into trouble, is really creating resistance with it, but sitting with it and trusting that it's there for your highest good, no matter how ugly it looks at the time. It's so valuable to be able to sit with it and experience it fully, because on the other side, when you overcome it, and you overcome faster, the faster you accept and feel through the experience, you always realize why you had to go through that. All the trauma bonds alone that I've sojourned to get to where I'm at, where I've healed codependency and released myself of even just the magnetization to energies that are seeking harm in any way, shape, or form. You realize that no, that was that was a master class along the way to what now I can do for other people and how I can serve people better.
And I wanted to ask you about that, which towards the end, I want to ask how people can, of course, reach out to you, and if you have any other things that you offer. But I want to kind of, I felt like asking you a question. It's not like almost like a tackle you with a question, but so a lot of people, I know that it's a personal experience. I personally know it's a personal experience, but what do you think happens when we pass from this body, from this world? What do you know? Sorry, not what do you think. What do you know happens?
No, I am an Aquarius. We're in the age. um, so I have come into alignment, I've resonated most deeply with the awareness that we have as many lives as it takes for our souls to ascend, that we go through these experiences not just in this lifetime, but in all the lives preceding us, to essentially pass the classes that it takes for us to come into a state of soul purification that allows us to be light enough to reintegrate back into the oneness of consciousness as an unconditional love, as it stands, as the creational energy of all things. So I feel that in the lifetime that you are able to transcend and come into this space of leaving fear, leaving suffering behind you, you're likely on your last cycle here. And on the other side of that, you become an energy of peace and love and expansion that, you know, many would call heaven on the other side of this, rather than continuing to incarnate on earth to learn the lessons, if you will.
You know, I have to tell you something I read today. I usually don't read news, but sometimes things pop that, you know, you kind of like, you try to connect it with this, because I live my life really 99% spiritual, and then there's 1% of existence. I mean, I have twin flame relationship. Like I'm on the right track. Like I know exactly what's going on with me. But I read today that they came up with this quantum computer, something that which and that it was able to discover that there are multiple dimensions all at the same time, which no computer could calculate or understand. But that was the first conclusion, is that it's working in an environment where there are multiple dimensions, and a lot of them, most of them are spiritual, obviously. And I totally agree with you. We come back. Sometimes we come here, I believe, and know. Sorry, there's a huge difference between believing and knowing. Believing with an ounce of a doubt, and I mean, spirituality, if you have an ounce of a doubt, then it's like the whole veil is just closing again. And then terminology is manifestation too. So I know that that we sometimes come back here to do like angelic work, to really test another soul. Sometimes souls come here just to experience the consciousness, like babies that have like sudden death syndrome, I think it's called, for babies that really come here, and then the science don't really know what's going on with them, and then after 2-3 months they pass. And these are souls that really just needed to, I believe, complete something, or be a soul for parents to test their faith and how they react to this. It's all about reactions. If you think about it deeply, our soul is here to react to situations. Some of them are the result of our actions. It's our life journey. Some of them are a result of what's meant for us here. We never really know our time. We never really know how, where it's going to happen, when we're going to pass. Is it going to hurt? Is it going to be in our sleep? Just like we never chose who to fall in love with for the first time in our lives, and when our baby is going to be born, what exactly week, we just trust divine timing. Never chose when to be born, what family to be born to, anything like that. We just showed up. So I really do believe in this divine timing, because the divine timing is also a way of manifestation. It gives you the aura. Aura, by the way, in Hebrew means light. It's really just a light. When people are illuminated, if you could see in spiritual goggles, you would see that they really have light protecting them, guiding them. Like sometimes I feel like I'm here to really just speak to some souls and guide them, because when I look back, all my jobs, correctional officer, I'm dealing with people like with the underworld, where there's negative energies and souls that are really lost. Then hospitals, then mental institute, I'm dealing with souls, and I don't know why. People that are poor, and then I realize in the end that I was teaching a lesson. I was planting a seed here, placing the spiritual bait there. I was growing as I was just facing this situation myself. And that knowledge translates to energy. It just changes you, and every day you grow more. And sometimes kind of people don't understand where you're at spiritually, and you never want to, heaven forbid, insult them or tell them that, hey, you're not on my level anymore, anything like that. But it's a personal journey. But sometimes it's fast, and we grow and learn. And so I wanted to ask you, when people are feeling that they have it inside, they know who they are, they feel the awakening of this huge spiritual awakening. The world is spiritually awakening as a world. I mean,
Yeah.
everything's bubbling spiritually right now. And it manifests itself
Yeah.
to events
Yeah.
around the world, right? It
Yeah.
manifests itself to events around the world. So I want to ask you, a lot of people talk to me, ask me questions like, so I feel like I'm stuck, I know who I am, I know that I'm special, but like I feel like I don't know. I'm really stuck. Nothing's really happening. What do you suggest? Like before I'll turn people to you and what you do, like what do you suggest to these people who feel stuck?
I think I'm going to go back to where you started that train of thought when you were telling me about this, the computer that shows that we're in multiple dimensions all at the same
Yeah,
time.
quantum computer.
Yeah, so when I work with people, I like to remind them when they're ready to receive the information. I like to remind them that you and I and they and each independently, we're all multidimensional universes within ourselves. And the proof of this is we have memory, we have past life regression, we have the capacity to carry trauma with us in our systems. Like we have we have certain days where we wake up feeling like shit and we go to bed feeling like we rose into a space of cathartic bliss. Like we are all multidimensional experiences.
Yes.
Tell me the question again, real quick.
I'll tell you the question. Before I want to just add to what you said because it's sitting in my soul. I can't. I'll forget it. I always forget like my insights. I remember everybody else.
I just did it too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So when you said well, multiple dimensions, that's why I tell people when they use the term my higher self. What's your higher self? What is something like physically in the ceiling or something up? You gotta look. Higher self is you living in another dimension when you are wiser than what you are now, that the full spectrum, that you're in same thing with past life. The soul does not really have time, present, past, future. We call it past life because that's how we can explain it, but it's another dimension. Like we connect that. The thing with aligning a soul is really aligning few dimensions together so we can survive this journey and understand it at least. So the question is, when people feel stuck,
And so to understand that everything is happening now. Everything is always happening now. All the timelines are compounded on top of now. All of our versions of ourselves in former lives, in former years, in earlier in the day, later in this life, our higher dimensions, our lower dimensions, we're all compounded right here, right now, as we are. So stuck is a belief system, but it's not an ultimatum. Stuck is a momentary thought that the ego brings in to convince us that we have to survive something, that we have something to fear, but it doesn't mean that we are stuck. And so we can see, it can look like there's stagnance in our experience, but where trust in ourselves and in divine timing meets this is, are we doing the work? Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we learning more about ourselves? People feel they're stuck if they're still in the same job, if they're not where they want to be yet, if they haven't gotten to the destination or to the career or to the awareness or to the physical wellness, whatever that looks like for them, whatever their goal is for themselves. It's in putting in the work, it's in being with yourself that you realize that you remain in this fluid motion forward all the time, no matter what, and that it takes time. When we're doing the mental, emotional, spiritual work on the inside, working on our inner worlds, it takes time for that to manifest externally of ourselves. So if we feel stuck, what's in our control? Come home to yourself.
Right.
Check yourself. See where you're at. What do you need? What are you missing? What's going to allow you to come back into a space of flow with who you are? Because in that space, in the Wu way, right, in the fluid state, in the flow state of who you are, and the connection that you have with yourself, with your higher self, with your connection with God, with source, with the universe, whatever you want to call that, there is no such thing as stuck. And you always remember when you come back into that space,
Exactly.
why the did I think I was stuck?
Exactly.
There is no stuck. I was just scared. For a moment, I was scared because I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be yet. And you know, I think of Veruca on Willy Wonka. I want it now, Daddy. You know, and it's the cake is not done. Don't open the door. You're still
Exactly.
doing the work. It's got to bake. Keep doing and feeling and allowing and going with the groove and learning. And if you feel like your environment is not where you want to be right now, take a walk. Go for a walk. Put on some music. Shift something, because all it takes is just that little fine tuning, that moment
Yeah.
of just, I'm going to choose to just fine tune my experience just a little bit. And all of a sudden, everything changes. You meet somebody new. You end up in a different place. So, somebody
Exactly.
offers something to you. Like the floodgates will open to your experience. And now you're not stuck anymore because you never were in the first place.
Right.
You know?
I tell people, I tell them, first of all, stop saying you're stuck because you're manifesting it. You're going
Yeah.
to get yourself trapped into
Oh,
like I said,
I
chamber
am
shadow,
so powerful.
and then it's a loop. Like you're going to just
Yeah.
loop yourself around this negative energy, and it's going to be hard for you because you're manifesting in your head. You're stuck. So with that comes so many more negative energies. Oh, I'm a this. I'm a loser. What's life? Like every day, you just manifest because you have the power to manifest. Instead of that, I tell people, you're not stuck. You're just camping out right now. You're in a tea. Sometimes your
Resting.
soul, yeah, sometimes your soul needs just a moment to really, like you
Yeah.
said, work on some parts of selves, just overcome some stuff. It's not a negative thing. Like if you're stuck, it's not necessarily a negative thing. Just like me, when I'm going through these horrible health issues, it's not negative things. Because of my first back surgery, I was able to talk to 1,000 souls one on one and guide them. Like something has to happen for something else to happen. You
Yeah.
know, there's all this is just the principle of this world, how we come into this world. And I also like to bring pregnancies and womb and babies because it's something that the soul remembers. We do remember being there and our soul was in a different dimension. That just show you also that we can be in different places, different time. Like as a womb, like obviously we're alive, but we consume our oxygens and nutrients and everything through the umbilical cord, through our mother, through the placenta, and we are in a dream state as our body physically developing, but our soul is already there, in kind of halfway in between this world and the world outside this world. Is this, I call it the middle section. It's like a hallway, you know, to this
Yeah.
other lounge. So what I'm saying, these
And I
are
think it's
beautiful.
also important with breath. Are you breathing? You're feeling stuck. Are you breathing? Because breath, the breath of life, they call it, the breath dictates so much of what your experience looks like. And this is something that I've learned in different yoga practices, pranayama, things of that nature, is that as we slow our breath down, life slows down. As we speed our breath up, our experience speeds up. If we stop breathing, if we're afraid, anxious, clutching our diaphragm for dear life, right? And holding our breath, waiting for the next thing,
It's
then you
anxiety.
always feel stuck. Breathe, you know, start with that and then move from there. Come down into your body and let your body show you that you're not stuck, and let that
Yeah.
life come back into your system and just breathe as a point of
Yes.
focus for the beginning of this. Yeah, to get out
And I
of it.
tell people about the divine timing. Sometimes, but when is it going to happen? So people ask me, but when? When? I was like, listen, you know, when a woman first gets pregnant, let's just say first child, the first thing she does, puts her hand on her tummy and said, I can't wait to meet you. Or at least she feels that. Like even before that baby's got arms and legs, just like when it's tiny bitty, embryos. Like,
But it's not time yet.
I can't wait to meet you, but I'll never let you out a day before you're ready.
Right.
This is what we practice, divine timing. And even that, you can never pay a doctor to say, hey, I want to give you $1 million. Just get this pregnancy out in the 5th month because we got plans, and I want that baby to be healthy. Sorry, it's gonna have to do its thing. So same thing in life. Same thing also when we are ill. When we don't want to interfere in the process. Same thing when in between our life, what we do.
Yeah.
We can interfere with the process. We have to respond to it. Now, some of us will respond with fear and choose the darkness, and then they will manifest it, not knowing, and then they'll feel like, okay, our life is this, and people with suicidal thoughts. And then you have the people that hold on to the thickest tree during their storms in their life, survive, and then see how everything just transform in them. Okay, you passed the test, you're graduating. Now you can help others. Now you have enough light to share to others. And as long as we can do it, knowing that time is really, really short and very unpredictable, we can't predict even a blink of an eye, a minute ahead. And anything can happen. So we live in faith daily without even knowing it. Like the faith that tomorrow we can make plans for next week, that's faith. Like we know our soul's going to make it, but we can't just do it when we have plans. We can't just do it when we have to do it every second, every split second, even between our heartbeats, between our breaths. We have to know who we are. We have to look for the kindness, look for the light, look for the good things that make the soul happy, and work on ourselves also, because it is an individual journey first. Some others can be affected. We can spread the light. We can let them enjoy our aura, but it's us. Just like we were born alone, we pass alone, we fall in love alone, we think alone. We are our own, and we're part of the collective. So before we end this beautiful conversation, Sunny, I want you to tell us and to tell the audience, how can they find you? And of course, I'm going to, in the description, put something if you want me to, of course. But just your services, what do you do for people, and how can people find you?
Right now, link them to my Facebook page. That's the best thing. I'm asking that people message me. I have at the top of my Facebook page, I have a post with my business card on there. It's got my phone number, so I'm open to receiving text. I do screen my phone calls, but if people text me first or message me on Facebook, I'd be more than happy to sit with them for a consultation, see how I can help them, and then go from there on scheduling an appointment. And I serve locally, and I've served globally as well in many different countries so far. So I look forward to
And what's your
being here
Facebook?
for anybody who resonates with me.
Exactly. I was just about to say that if you resonate, because that's what it's about, guys. That's what I tell people as well. I'm not a business, I'm not like, you resonate, you meant to meet me. Fine. That I'm personally, I don't charge. People want to donate, they can't. If not, I mean, I've helped more people for free than not. It's not even about that.
Yeah.
It's really just connecting to the souls, because once you get marketing, this money, all that involved, and you just, the whole idea is out of the way. I'm trying to be.
And that's what I was going to say is that I serve based on donation. Every financial offering is so helpful. But I don't expect, if you resonate with me and you're open to receiving the healing and you need it now, that's when you need it, and that's when I'm here for it. And I also want to let people know, as a precursor, when they go to my page, I do have my legal name on there. It's Jessica Cunningham. But my mother was going to name me Sunshine, and I reclaimed that 2 years ago when I came back onto my spiritual path. So I go by Sunny now.
That is wonderful. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's a female version of the Soul Guide. That's exactly what I do for people. Donation based. We don't charge. If you can, you can. If not. We're going to show you and give you the same love regardless. It's all about helping souls. It's all about, being raw, like I said in the beginning, spiritually raw, because we're going to speak through emotions and intuition. We're not going to, think before we speak and plan. I didn't plan any questions. Everything was just letting it flow. And I really enjoyed myself, Sunny. And I really hope that, because you are the first guest of this podcast, you're going to be coming back and we're going to talk about other things, because I can sit here and open up almost every spectrum of spirituality, and all I'm going to do is just agree. Maybe next time I'll even take some questions from people that want to know something. But again, if you want to reach out, I will, when this video is ready, I will leave a comment with Sunny's information, Facebook information, and you're going to take it from there. And I hope you are going to have an enlightened experience. And again, Sunny, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I think it was good. I had a great time, speaking with somebody who really understands my language, and that saves a lot from the conversation. I really enjoyed it. It also gives me a lot of spiritual reassurance about the path that I'm on and about the abilities and what I'm here for. And again, every soul is special. Every soul is destined to do something. You're just going to have to dig deep to know it, to accept it. Leave the ego, leave the material. It's not going to stay here forever. It's going to disintegrate like anything else physical. Those things are meaningless. Just be alive to exist. Exist in respect and honor, and then put the rest on your soul, and for your true mission. So thank you so very much.
Thank
And I wish
you.
you the best love and life. Thank you so much. And we'll speak again. And thank you guys
Absolutely.
for watching.
Thank you.